I am having my first live stream and it looks like it's really weird lighting, but whatever. It's not the most important thing. Let's see if I can adjust this a little bit. So I'm a spiritual guide, and this is my first YouTube video, and I'm very excited to be here on this platform because I like to go deep. I like to go into concepts, and I love to hear your feedback. So please give it, even if you're not coming in live. If you're just seeing this on a replay, let me know. What my main thing is all about is everybody should have the life that they love and that they desire. What are some of the reasons we don't, right? We think it's something outside of ourselves, right? We hear about manifestation, the law of attraction, and everyone talks about it, right? And there's so much buzz about it. I'm a real basic, tell me how to change my life type person. I've been in this industry for over 25 years. And I like to take people from where they are, clear the subconscious programming, clear the conscious and subconscious beliefs, right, which is part of the subconscious programming, the conditioning and all of that, right? So it's a little neuroscience, a little psychology, a little bit of quantum principles in there, some spirituality, some biology, all the things that I went through to figure out why, even when I was a struggling mom over here, working 3 jobs, putting myself through college, had a kid on the spectrum, raising him on my own, you can understand that this person might have, be running on some adrenaline, some cortisol issues. But why 9 years later, when I was married and there were no money struggles, no money issues, nothing, I had pretty much everything I ever wanted. We had a house with 7 bathrooms, an indoor heated basketball court, indoor gym, you name it, we had it. And I still felt like this person over here. I never felt safe, in terms of money, right? I always felt like, oh my God, it just didn't feel safe for me to have money, I don't think. And now that I know what I know, I'm like, my gosh, I was wired for struggle. I was wired to feel and to be used to feeling unsafe, right? Welcome in if you're coming in. And so when I came over here, I didn't know this, right? So here I was wired for struggle and chaos. And when there wasn't really any outward, there wasn't any reason for it, but you find it, right? Because the systems in our body, right? The limbic system, the ego, all those things, right? They're there to predict and protect, right? And however we've been, whatever our state of being has been in the past, it strives to keep us there. At the same time, it keeps a record, right, between the amygdala and the hippocampus, I'm probably saying that wrong. They're keeping track of every time we've had trauma, big T trauma, little t trauma, anytime we've had a very negative or strong negative reaction emotionally to anything. And then it filters our world, right? So here we are, I guess when we get about to be 25, right? Pretty much we're living from programs. 0 to 7, we're in those theta brain waves. Dr. Joe will say alpha, maybe it's alpha and theta, I don't know. And all it is we're recording. We're not able to go, I don't think so, maybe, right? And even from 7 to 12, we're able to kind of go, nah, that's not true. But we still have that little but that's what my parent says, maybe, right? Welcome if you're coming in. I don't know how to see the chat. It's my first video here. So welcome in. I can't see who's in, and I can't see if anyone's writing anything in the chat. I don't know how to do that. I guess I should have looked and saw how to do that. So I don't know why I'm not seeing anything, but I don't want to go hitting anything. So I'm just going to keep talking. So we go through our lives, right? And we're doing all the things, right? We're like, but Dina, that's my name, Dina. So Dina's doing all the things, but nothing's showing up. I keep staying in I keep hitting that same ceiling in relationships. I keep hitting that same ceiling in money. situations. I keep hitting that same ceiling with friendships or whatever it is. I keep looping in these same things. And hello, Luz. And we can't figure out why. Because we're consciously doing everything, right? We can't figure out why we're not getting those promotions at work. We can't figure out why are things not going the way that we want them to go. And we think, I'm doing something wrong. And we've been mistakenly kind of given this impression, hi Luz, thank you so much, that manifestation, the law of attraction is something that we need to go out there and figure out and get, right? And we need to bring the stuff to us, right? Now, it's true that things come to us. They're always coming to us. They're always, whatever it is that we are a resonant match for, whatever is meant for us is always right around us. But when we have this subconscious programming and we have our minds and our biology filtering our reality, we're not seeing the little pieces of popcorn being left on the path for us to follow. We're not seeing the synchronicities. We're like, that's just a coincidence, right? And so all the things that we are desiring are around us, but they're not coming into our reality because we're blocking them, right? So when we hear like, okay, you have to change who you're being, we can change our identity and kind of just go, I'm over here, I want to be over here, let's go. And if there's not that much resistance, it's pretty simple to do that, right? So I recently moved, I've been here for almost a year on and off in Mexico. And I moved here, I'd never been here before. I don't speak the language. I had sold my house. I had let go of all my worldly goods, all my car, everything, right? Got it down to 4 suitcases and a carry-on and came here with 2 suitcases and a carry-on. Didn't even know where I was staying when I got off, right? The plane. That was not a problem for me. Why? Because there wasn't any resistance between me where I was and me wanting to start this life here. So I knew I was going to be fine. People would ask me questions. Well, what if this? What if that? What if this? Right? And in fact, I believe I do want to go back to Florida. So that's what you do, right? You make the leap. And if it's not, I still absolutely know this was the right move for me. I absolutely know it. And I don't know when I'll be ready. You go back and forth and you figure it out. The point is, my nervous system is not the same nervous system anymore. And that is why you'll see people win the lottery. Why do some people win the lottery? They go from, being very poor, or some people are homeless, right? And they win the lottery and they're just fine. Some people win the lottery and they end up losing it all. I'm great, how are you? And why do we see, it's easy to look at people, that are known, right? So you see it with people that are famous, right? They go from not being famous and then they're like this overnight sensation and it should be everything that they've ever wanted. And yet a lot of them blow it, right? A lot of them end up bankrupt. A lot of them just do some really not wise things that put them in positions where they sometimes lose everything, right? Some are able to come back and all that. A lot of this is when we achieve something, but yet our nervous system is just always on achieve, right? You see that with a lot of like wealthy people, right? The billionaires. You're like, well, how much money can one person spend in a lifetime? Some people may just be somebody that just can't have enough money. I'm not here to judge. But what I often see is they have this achievement, I'm going to make $1 million. And they have the sense of what that's going to feel like. But when they get there, it falls flat. And they're like, it's really the high of going after the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And they get like addicted to it. So their nervous system is like addicted to that. And that makes sense, right? So when we're trying to figure out how we can have the life, the things, break out of, maybe we feel numb. Maybe we feel like we're going through the motions. How do we shift that? How do we go from I'm giving it my all, I'm doing all the things, right? Why is it not enough to change my reality? And a lot of times it comes down to, do we believe that we're worthy of it? Do we believe that it's possible? And do we have subconscious programming, meaning we're not aware of it, that's silently sabotaging us, or our system sabotaging us, right? I see this a lot with people posting about dates, right? And they'll be like, oh, the date went really well and I had a really good time. And then a couple days went by. And all of a sudden I was like, no, this isn't a good idea. That kind of gives me, hey Loz, that kind of gives me the feels of somebody who their subconscious is going, no, come back over here, right? Because when we're going from single to being in a relationship, there's going to be some kind of, right? Some kind of resistance in between those two, right? I have clients all the time that say, well, I'm over here and I'm a nurse and I make good money and I've been doing it for 30 years. I'm burnt. I'm tired. Okay, well, what is it that you want to do? I want to write my own book and I want to be an author. Okay, what's stopping you? Well, because, can I even write a book? Would it be a bestseller? Would I be able to make money? What about healthcare? What about this? What about that? And absolutely, those are what I call 3D reasons, right? I've also had clients in similar situations who money is not an object. They will still come up with a pile of reasons, pretty like, 3D reasons, right? Like all those reasons I just stated are, okay, if that's truly what you want and you truly believe that you can be successful doing that, you will make the jump, just like I made the jump here to Mexico. And if you truly believe it's the right next move, all those things aren't going to get in the way. There's just going to be things that you're going to go, no, I'm not going to worry about that. No, I can solve that, right? And I use this analogy a lot. If you're on the way to drive to pick up your kids after school and you are going down the main road to get there and there's a huge, detour tree in the middle of the road, you don't go back and go, oh my gosh, that's a sign I shouldn't be on the road and I shouldn't pick up my kids. No, you'll find another way there. Let's say all the roads are blocked. You're going to call the school. You're going to find a parent. You will figure it out, right? But when it comes to like, oh, I think I'm thinking about switching jobs, the second that there's something in our way, we're like, oh, I got to run back. Why? Because it's familiarity. It's our nervous system wanting to keep us in the same place over and over again, not because we prefer it. Maybe we're not even physically safe, but we're still, some of the basic systems are just there to keep us alive, right? And so they're constantly monitoring, okay, everything, yep, let's just keep, let's keep this right on the straight and narrow. Let's keep the same thing going on. It's not like a thinking thing that's like, oh, she's really unhappy. It's not about that. It's about keeping the system the same, right? Same amount of heartbeats, same amount of whatever, and we kept them alive yesterday, so we're going to keep doing what we're doing, right? They're very basic systems. They're here to keep us alive, but we can override them. Not saying that we're not going to be alive. What I'm saying is we can override and go, no, we're still going to be here, good over here, right? So that's why we have this feeling that when we're in the unknown, right? And people say this to me all the time, like, I just don't know what's next. I got fired and I haven't been able to find a job and I'm just kind of in this in between, and or maybe it's a relationship. I got divorced, I'm getting divorced, just broke up, and I've been, kind of dating, but nothing's been, and I'm in this like void. And what people, find, what they're telling me is I'm not comfortable not knowing what's next. They would rather break up with somebody, be like, end it now, rip the Band-Aid off now. Like, I want to know now. Because their nervous system can't handle not knowing. The unknown feels so uncomfortable. And in those cases, we're, we got to kind of go back. We don't have to go back through, that's the old paradigm. We don't have to go back through and do all this work and all that stuff. It's just needing to go, well, wait a minute. What's the underlying reason that I'm so uncomfortable in the unknown, right? And we take it down and we take it down and we take it down. An example of this is a little different topic, but similar technique. So I often ask people, what is it that you want? Could be anything. A bigger house, I want to move out of state, I want to do this, I want to upgrade, I want to make more money, whatever it is, right? What is in the way of what you want? 99% of people will say money. I can't have what I want or do what I want because of money. And I will say, is money the root problem or is it a symptom? They're like, no, it's the problem. And I'm like, but let's go deeper. I want this and I can't have it because of money. And that just, they don't go any deeper than that. And then they start getting angry at all the things outside is why they don't have the money. The healthcare system, the billionaires, the money system, the corporate, whatever it is, right? And I'm not saying that those things aren't, a reality on some level. But when we think that we are just a victim of those things, then we are not exercising our free will. And I do believe we have free will. I don't believe we have tons of it, but I believe we have enough of it. And if we don't use our free will, we don't get to our destiny, right? The thing that we want to do here. And I've come to see that there are usually 3 arcs of what we're here to do. I'm not really going to get into that today. That'll be another video, but it's really important for us to not live a life based on fear, right? Let's go a little deeper. I want this, and the reason I don't have what I want, what's in my way is money. Let's go down. Why don't you have money? And there's a ton of and why's underneath of there. Most everybody, it's only about 3%, maybe 3 to 5% of people that ever become very conscious. In other words, they say, like I said earlier, by the time we're 25, 95% of our thoughts in a day is subconscious, right? We're not even aware. We're not aware that we just sabotaged a relationship. We think they just ghosted us because we're completely unaware of how much we acted like an a-hole. Because it didn't seem that way to us. We don't even see what we did because conscious we, didn't see it, didn't get it. Has anyone experienced that where, somebody else has been at the table and you've said something to somebody and they're like, what the hell was that? And you're like, what do you mean? You're completely unaware of it. And that freaks a lot of people out. But that's an example of how powerful the subconscious mind is. I've been talking to clients and they'll say, okay, I want to work out with you. Let's discuss. I have this job opportunity and I'm trying to work out, should I take it? Shouldn't I take it? I don't want anybody to ever take I'm not here to tell you do it or don't do it. I'm here to guide you through finding your own answers. And that's why I call myself a guide. So we will often have this arc of a discussion, maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. And at the end of it, I'm thinking, we went through all of these things and all of them were positive, and the conclusion is they're going to take the job. And at the end, they're like, oh, so I should just stay at my old job. And I'm like, I know they were listening. I know they're intelligent. So, because their brain was filtering anything that sounded like they should take it. Because their nervous system, their limbic system, memory of trauma, whatever it is it's safer where you know what to expect. So it filtered out anything that sounded like they should take the job, even when it was coming from them. So this is how we end up with a reality that we don't prefer. Welcome in. Welcome in. I am great. How are you? So the discussion here is about manifestation. How can we have the life that we want? Why am I doing all the things, going through all the motions? I'm going out there and doing all the things, and I'm struggling, and I'm tired, and it's just not showing up, right? But I see myself, I feel myself doing everything that I can. That's a good indication that there's a lot of subconscious thoughts and filtering going on, right? And what do I mean by filtering? All of us remember in high school, junior high, high school, they talk about, how our brain can't attend to every single thing, the systems in the body, right? And we also can understand that when we walk down the street or we're walking through a building or a store, there's so much stimulus and so much input, right, to all our senses that all of it can't just go smushing in our head at once, because we would lose it, right? We just wouldn't be able to. So our brain filters out what we pay attention to. But nobody, and we can understand that, but nobody really takes the time to say, wait a minute, what's the criteria that my brain uses to filter out what I do or don't see, hear, taste, touch, smell in my environment? Because that's where all the magic is. That's where we start to understand it's not just random, and everyone isn't born with it stamped. We're born with a true essence, with an empty palette, right? We have our own individual personality, our own likes, dislikes. We have our own strong gifts and things, all these things, right? Anybody that's had kids or observed kids knows kids come in like a mirror. When they play hard. When they laugh loud, right? And it's conditioning that shifts us, right? Some of it is put on us, some of it's we're volunteering to do because we want to be accepted and loved, right? So by the time we're in our late teens, early 20s, by 25, who are we? How much of us is who we really want to be, and how much of this is what we did and changed and are showing the world because we're not sure we're enough the other way. We've not been accepted. Maybe we got shut down. I mean, who hasn't been humiliated, hurt, broken up with, bullied? We've all experienced it, and that is going to shift the way that we see ourselves and the way that we protect ourselves, consciously and subconsciously. Because the ego, right, and these systems, the limbic system especially, is there to keep a record and to remember every situation that was painful for us. And it is looking and scanning and going over here, over here. Oh, break up with that guy. You know you had a really good time with that guy on the date. Couple days later, your systems have worked on you enough that they're like, was he really all that? And I didn't really like the way he put his fork down in between bites, right? I know, I'm laughing because I've been there. I've broken up with people for the silliest things, the way they opened up a bottle. Because my nervous system was wired for, nobody's going to get in this hard again and hurt me like that before. But I wasn't consciously going out into the world realizing that I was sabotaging, because I consciously wasn't. I consciously would go on a date and go, of course, we're all with the optimism. Nobody goes, I'm going to go on this date and really screw up my night. Maybe, hopefully I'll get hurt, and maybe I'll screw up the other person's life too while I'm at it. We don't do that, right? So it's not about you sabotaging your life, right? When I say to people, you are the only thing standing in between you and what you want, they're like, I'm doing all the things. Conscious you may be doing that. Or maybe that's the way you're seeing the world, but maybe there's a lot of ways that we're not, and it's not conscious. So if that's one thing I can impart on everyone is going through your life and expecting it to change when you've been doing it this way for a really long time, and obviously it's something going on that you're not aware of. Can we go through and figure it out on our own? Yes, I did. I've been in this industry for over 25 years, but I have been on a huge mission of my own because I was married for 21 years to someone that I had everything that I wanted when I was a single woman and afraid and struggling, and life was difficult, and I was not healthy all the time because I was like so burnt out. So then here I am 9 years later. I have like everything that I said I ever wanted, everything that everyone from the outside would be like, congratulations, you got the golden ticket life. You could stay home with the kids. And don't get me wrong, I love my kids, and I actually homeschooled them for a little while. But I wanted my own career. I was not comfortable. the money didn't make me comfortable. So I was constantly going, well, this will make me happy. Well, if I get this car, it'll make me happy. And in reality, nothing could fill the void that I had because it wasn't about things. Now, I'm not saying that money is not, there's nothing wrong with money. But when your nervous system is wired and used to struggle and not used to money, it's used to money coming in and money going. So what do you think any money I got my hands on in our marriage, I did with it? I spent it so fast. So if I had been in charge of the money, we would have been broke. So thankfully for that, right? So I was like, I need to go figure out what the heck is going on with me. So I spent about, it was about 15 years total, but I would say, I mean, we can't, I'm living life during those years, but it was really an exploration. I'm like, look, I have a lot of these skills, right? So I wanted to be a psychologist. I never did finish school, but I had a kid on the spectrum when I was young, so I worked with some of the best neuropsychologists, and I always wanted to learn. Like, okay, you're explaining to me how we think his brain works, and then I would go and research it. So I'm like, well, I love research. I love to figure this out. So let me see if I can figure out why I'm doing what I'm doing. But it's not that easy to uncover your own. But I did figure out a way to do that because I started researching, and I'm like, it's all right there. It's all right there. Why I do these things. Like, I understand how it works now, and then I could just literally go back and go, oh, well, because that happened to me when I was 17. Oh, that's why I pushed everyone away. Now, I didn't have to go back through and go through the pain, and I just was like, oh, that. Ooh, that might be why my brain would filter that way. It started to all make sense. And the thing is, we can't fix something that we don't know. We can't override a system that we don't even know exists. And now here we are going, well, why? I keep applying for these jobs. Why does everyone keep getting promoted, but I don't? Why do I have these friendships and we're really good friends for like 3 months, and then we have this big blow up, and then I have no friend again, and then it happens all over again. These things aren't random. These things are here for you to learn a lesson. Like, hey, learn this lesson. I believe everything is a projection. What do I mean by that? So this one might take a little stretch for you, but what if everything is a projection? So I'm not saying that all people in the world are not real. What I'm saying is that we are a human, but we're also a light, right? We're a higher self or a soul, right? So what if my soul was like, Dina's not figuring out that she's got this conditioning and that she's pushing all these men away. So I'm going to ask this, for other higher selves to bring more people in to show her what she's doing, right? And when she doesn't get that, then we're going to move on to the next plan and the next plan. So pretty soon, if you don't start to get the message, right, you can go into a relationship, oh, I'm never doing that again. And then again, right, different person, different name, but same crap, right? Because it's for you. It's for you, right? I'm on another platform. I'm currently in Mexico. I couldn't figure out why I wasn't getting good playtime and all that. Well, because they're pushing me out to Mexico. I don't speak Spanish. So people are looking at my video for like 1 second and scrolling, right? And I tried to fix it, and they're like, nope, you can't. And I'm like, but I'm American. I have an American SIM card. I opened it up when I was in. They don't care, right? So I'm like, I could have got really frustrated. I just spent 3 months developing courses to put on that app. You know what I said? I know this is happening for me. What is this showing me? I didn't give up. I'm looking into other things and exploring things, but I'm not in a panic. I could still build my following. I can still do all these things. What is this showing me? Maybe I should go on YouTube. Well, here I am today. Maybe it's time for me to move back. My plan is to move back in a few months, but maybe I should go earlier. I don't know. Let me be open to seeing this is how I go through my life now. Circumstances are going to circumstance, guys. I got news for you. There is no utopia. But it can be, because you can decide regardless of the circumstances, even the ones we really don't prefer, do not pull me off. That could have been enough. I literally made 2 digital courses. I spent so much time because I am not a tech lover, right? And I got the guidance. It was like, do a digital course on this app. And I was like, I'm not doing that. And then I heard it's done. And I was like, what do you mean it's done? Like, and so it's done? Like, I don't have a choice. And they're like, no, it's already done. I'm like, okay, I'm not understanding. And they're like, go look at all your Google Sheets you've been researching for 10 years. You took yourself through it, you took your clients through it, and you're such a geek that every time you do it, you do a Google Sheet and you label it. And I was like, oh my God, you're right, right? So I had it. And then I was like, okay. So then I do all this stuff, and then I'm like, why am I not getting good time on me? I was like, oh, interesting. Okay, why would this be? Because once you understand how the universe works, you regulate your nervous system, you figure out how these systems work, you know that everything is working out for you in your highest and best good. I heard that the first time I heard that years ago, I almost spit out my coffee. And it was Louise Hay's beautiful voice. She's no longer with us, but I was like, I don't know who this lady is, but like I'm about to send her like a 35 page email listing every single time and what circumstance and how it was absolutely not working out for me in my highest best interest, and it didn't work out for me in my highest and best interest. I was like, I don't know what kind of life she's led, but she's not led mine. Now that I see how everything works, right? So when this happened, I was like, oh, interesting. Well, no, maybe it's just a workaround. Maybe it's like spread it to another platform. Maybe it's time to go back to the US. I don't know. How exciting that I have all these possibilities. That's how I live my life now. I don't go, oh my God, why is this happening? I went through all this work and da 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 da. That's not going to get us where we want to get. That's not going to help our evolution, right? So now I'm drawing things to me. I drew, like, out of nowhere, a family member was like, hey, how you like in Mexico? Well, hey, come stay here. And then somebody that I know, never met in person, but this beautiful lady that I've been friends with for a long time was like, hey, how about if I come and we do this? And it's like, oh, having somebody here would be like really cool, right? That I know. So to build a business together. So all these things are starting to come my way. I don't know. Will she actually come? I don't know. Will I actually go move there? I don't know, because I sold my house. And I don't know. I would probably go live with a family member while I figured out where I wanted to be and find something or whatever. So all these possibilities are coming in because I didn't shut down and panic. I could have panicked and said, oh my God, I shouldn't have sold everything. I should have left my house. I shouldn't have gotten rid of everything. I gave everything away. And oh my God, what am I going to do? That didn't even enter into my mind, because I know everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. And when you get your nervous system and you override your systems that are constantly going, oh, well, that's the way it goes. You just have bad luck. Well, figures, you spent all that time on nothing. Guess you didn't think that out very well, did you? Maybe you should have checked that. Like, those things don't happen because I don't. That would be my old identity, the one that thinks it's that listens to those voices. It's like, no. It's like, thank you, but no. I'm over here in this different identity where this stuff doesn't pull me in, because this way keeps you in a reality that you don't prefer. This keeps you not aware. You're unconscious. Over here, I'm conscious. I'm looking at all the possibilities, and even as this is happening, people are just reaching out to me and going, hey, and you're like, wow, that was weird, right? Like, I wasn't even thinking about that. So this is how I live my life now. This is how I talk to my clients. This is how I take them through things. And if you want to know how to work with me, you can go into my profile. There is a link. I do one-on-one immersions here in the jungle. No, we're not like just hanging out in the jungle. It's a beautiful facility, and if you want to take a look at that, it's up there. I also don't have my courses up there, so I need to link those up there. But I have courses, and you could reach me by triggering that email, and or just message me and I will send you. I have the what I call a 7-day timeline jump course is really the one that it was the baby, that's the baby that I had all the information, and that's how I figured this all out and have now this life of freedom that I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it feels so wonderful to not allow circumstances to shift you." I mean, how many times have I in the past, and how much do you allow a phone call from a friend or a circumstance that we see in the news to just ruin our freaking day, our week, our month, and on and on and on, right? And then it becomes our state of being. And that's how we get pulled in and stay into the matrix. If we really want to break out and be the creators of our own reality, we need to first start with the system, right? Our systems, not those systems. Those aren't your problem. Your problem is thinking that those systems are the problem, right? And that's part of how we stay in this 3D kind of victim mode of the matrix, thinking, well, I can't get ahead. Everyone says you got to have like 3 jobs. And if I don't have a degree, I still can't. And even people with a degree can't make it happen, right? So how can I make it happen? So if we keep thinking that way, then we're not going to open up and expand. And I'm at the point now where I don't even have to open up and expand. It just starts coming in because I'm kind of just always open, going, oh, well, that's interesting. I know this isn't happening to me on this platform, that I'm only getting pushed out to, countries that don't speak my language. So, what's this showing me? And I'm still not exactly positive, and it might not be one thing, and maybe I haven't figured out what that is yet. But I'm like this, not like this. That's how you shift your reality. That's how you go from just dealing with whatever's coming, right? I call it like an extreme game of dodgeball when life is like that. You're like, oh, ooh, ooh, you're dodging like all these balls. You're just reacting. Instead of going, oh, okay, let me see how this is working for me. I don't know how yet. It doesn't really look like that. It didn't feel like that, but I'm going to figure this out. So this is what I lead my clients through. For those of you that don't know me and you're coming on, I'm Dina, and I am a spiritual guide. And I love to show you who you really are, your true essence, remind you. It's all about remembering. It's all about going back to who we were always meant to be. And so when I work with my clients, because I'm a channel as well, so I'm a channel and I'm a geek, a science geek. That's quite a combo. You can feel it. It resonates. You just know. You just know, wow, that hits. Like, I realize that that's not me, right? So if I have a conversation with you, I'm like, stop. Let me take this away. Let me take this away. This is what I see. And they're like, wow, what? And then they just feel it. They feel it in their gut. So I would love for everybody to start with, I'm talking about something that's not even up there for sale, but you can message me. And it's this beautiful, it's profound. It takes you through 8 modules. 8th module is like the 30 days. What do you do now? But it's all about figuring out who you were before the conditioning in a beautiful way, and then you see it, and then stuff just starts dropping away, and then it's about becoming a detective and how did I start to become aware of what was blocking me, and then I've walked hundreds and hundreds of clients through it. And it's so beautiful because like every day is like, ooh, I found another one. Oh, cool, right? This isn't about beating ourselves up. That's the old paradigm. This is like, ooh, right? The other day, there's a really cool gentleman here. His name is Mike, and he puts together these things. And out of nowhere, like I was literally just sitting there enjoying like the fan. And I was like, he's not as clever as he thinks he is. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. Like, because I don't think that way about Mike, but some subconscious programming sure does. And why was it? I wasn't even thinking about him. So I was like, ooh, something cool to kind of like figure this out. But it's not like, oh my God, I got to figure this out and let me heal myself to the point of obsession. I was just like, ooh. And within like, by the next, like part of that day and into the next day, I was like 100% clear on why. And it was just kind of fun. You don't look at it as, oh my God, this is another thing and I've got to clear it. You're just like, ooh, thank you for showing me this. How interesting. Let me see, because I'm not consciously aware that I think that when I'm around him. I've never had that conscious thought when I'm around him. It's so awesome. It's so cool. And it's the gateway into this reality where you're the architect of your own life, and you start to, you're no longer in this cage of your own making. I always say that. I'm like, you're in this cage that you put yourself in and you don't even realize the door's not even locked. It's like, what, it's so interesting, and I was in that. And I just want everyone to walk through that gate. I want everyone to be able to magnetize the things that are meant for them. And it's not that they're not coming, it's not that they're not here, it's that we're not a match for it. So I would love to get you there. So make sure if you're not following me, you do. And again, I have some random stuff down there, and I'm really going to start working on this. And make sure you're following me, or I guess on here it's called subscribe, so that when I go live, you know. And I don't know, if you have questions, you could have put them in the chat, or maybe I think I'm seeing the chat now, so that's really cool. I'm learning on this app, so I'm really excited to have this be my first video and really talk about the heart of what it is that I do. And I would love to keep having you tune in to the ways in which we can start to become conscious and be in the now. There's so many amazing people out there like Eckhart Tolle and Joe Dispenza, so many. And I've read them pretty much all, sometimes several times. And I feel like it's so beautiful when you can take pieces from all these brilliant minds and weave them together into a system that takes the best of all of it. And my brain just happens to be really good at making those connections. And I'm so proud and I'm so excited to be able to help so many people through this and remembering who they are. And it's lifetime value. Once you see, you can't unsee. You may go back again when you go to do another level, which you'll have the outline, you'll know the system. And it's science, guys. A lot of it is just pure science and biology. And it is so empowering. And I want everyone to take charge of their lives. I want to see everybody change the dynamic of how the world is now, right? Where it's so out of balance with power and money. It's time for us to wake up and realize that we are not the victims of the systems out there. We are a victim of our own systems, that nobody has shown us how to take back our power and how to, that's part of the journey here, right? Is to come in as our true essence and have all this stuff kind of in for us to forget who we really are, as a higher being, as our higher self, and then to break out of that. But really only, research shows that only 3 to 5% of people actually do that. And then about 10 to 15% of people do it to some extent, but it's usually because of some kind of catastrophic event or circumstance, right? So much prefer to be one of the 3 to 5% that actually knows how to exactly write and be the architect of your own reality. So hello, nice to see you. Thank you for tuning in, guys. I am going to say goodbye, and I'll see you soon.